Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today is a rather sad day for me because it has become apparent that building a PC in the year 2018 is just probably not going to be practical for that many people out there. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the enthusiast, although they're definitely feeling the sting of this as well. But the way that I look at it is that the enthusiasts that are going to go out and spend, $2,000 or $1,500 plus really, they were going to spend that much anyway, and it's probably not going to stop them from building a PC. But the people that I feel are going to be hurt most by the current rise in prices on RAM as well as graphics cards are going to be the first-time builders or the people on a budget of below $1,000, where the advice that I would have given a year ago to build your own system, not only because of the experience and getting to learn something, but also because it would have been cheaper than going out and buying a pre-built system in most instances, has gone completely out the window, where now it's done a flip-flop and you can actually buy pre-built systems cheaper than you could if you were to actually build it yourself, which just really sucks for me, not only as a fan of building PCs and someone that enjoys teaching people how to build PCs, but also from a business standpoint, as it just is hard to really make a PC build guide anymore for anyone that is wanting to get into system building, because there's just so much controversy over it and people are just saying, oh, well, you can't get it for those prices. It's the MSRP is just not realistic, and you're going to spend like $1,500 building a PC that just a few months ago should have cost you $900 or $1,000. So it's just a really awful time right now for PC gaming and PC builders in general, where you can go out and get these pre-built systems for cheaper than it would be if you were to actually build it yourself. I wanted to start this investigation by going over on a couple websites like Amazon and Newegg, and I found what I thought was the most reasonable pre-built system over on Amazon. It comes from iBuyPower. This system right here has got an Intel i7 7700, so it's a non-K variant, which means it's not overclockable. It's using a B250 motherboard, and it's got a GTX 1070 8GB card along with 8GB of DDR4 RAM. On top of that, it's also got a 120GB SSD and a 1TB mechanical hard drive. So a very strong system, not a low-end system by any means, but also not like the uber high-end, but chances are you wouldn't have trouble running pretty much any game in 2018 with a system like this at probably high and ultra settings in the vast majority of cases. So I wanted to look at this in terms of the pricing, based on the fact that this system right now on Amazon is $1,239.99 American cents. So what would it cost you to actually build this system yourself? I initially started out by going on Amazon, Newegg, and other sites to try to see if I could part out everything myself, but I ended up having to go through PC Part Picker. Just really quickly, looking over on Newegg, just look at these RAM prices that are just out of hand right now. Looking at a single DIMM of 8GB DDR4 memory from Crucial as well as Corsair, you could see that these are $96 and $97 respectively, which is way more than what this RAM should actually cost. To get it around $90, you actually have to get a bare DIMM with no heat spreader from Crucial, and that's the cheapest one I was able to find for a single 8GB. Oh no, we got one down here for $88. Sorry. A real steal at 10% off. No, that RAM stick should probably cost you around $50, $60 at most for 8GB of DDR4 memory. Looking at the 16GB kits, which a lot of people would advise for a system builder to use, you're looking at $200 and upward, which just makes it almost impossible to get a 16GB kit right now if you are on a budget. You're more than likely going to end up getting an 8GB DIMM and then adding another one down the road if you really feel that you need it. And graphics cards are probably going to make up the biggest chunk, or they are going to make up the biggest chunk of your budget. And that problem is no longer limited to just AMD graphics cards because of miners. We know that miners want to get their AMD graphics cards for the mining, the compute performance that they can get out of them, but NVIDIA has now joined the ranks of the impossible to acquire graphics card list, and on all of them really, 1060, 1070, 1080, 1080 Ti, doesn't really matter. Anywhere in that spectrum, you are going to be spending well over what the market value should realistically be on those graphics cards. Let's take a look at the GTX 1070, which is the one in this system. Look at these prices for the ones that are actually in stock. You are looking at $900 or $1,000 for a GTX 1070. That is absolutely obscene. GTX 1070 Ti Founders Edition card, $1,249. Are you kidding me right now? The realistic prices of what these should be are down here. The MSRPs are like $470, $490. Like, okay, that's around the ballpark of what these aftermarket cards should cost, but we're looking at $900 or $1,000. And I really hate the fact that this is happening, because just back on January 4th, I did that video where people were saying the prices were going to come up by about $5 to $20. Like $5 to $20? Are you kidding me right now? That is not $5 to $20. These cards are fucking double what they should be. These graphics card manufacturers need to sort this out and just get over this already and start producing more cards quicker for gamers and miners at the same time, or make mining specific cards or something, or introduce a driver up. If they really do care about gamers, if they really honestly care about gamers, they would push out like a driver update that pretty much just butchers mining performance or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think outside the box right now, because it's so infuriating to see this and seeing people have to spend this much money to get a graphics card, which should realistically cost around $400. The GTX 1060. Let's look at this for a laugh, shall we? The GTX 1060 3GB card, $400. Over here, the 6GB card, $500. Absolutely insane. That is not a $5 to $20 price hike like some of the analysts had predicted. This is way more than what these cards should cost. That 6GB card, that should be around $250 to $300. And the prices, they just really suck. So let's go back to that iBuy power system I mentioned before. As I said, i7 1700, GTX 1070. I went through on PC Part Picker to see how much we could actually build this system for today if we wanted to go out and buy all the components at the best price that we could possibly get. So let's start off with the i7 7700. That's a non-overclockable variant. The best deal we could find was on Outlet PC for $297.41. So perfectly fine. That's really what that part should cost. The CPU cooler, I have not added on an additional CPU cooler, because looking at the build, we could see on here that they are just using a stock Intel cooler, so that is what we went with. The motherboard, they don't list the exact make and model, but I found one that was a decent deal for $77. It is a B250 motherboard, because they do mention that it is a B250 variant, which is perfectly fine considering the fact that this is a non-overclockable i7 CPU. So I went with an MSI B250 PC Mate, which is $77 after a $20 mail-in rebate. For the RAM, I went with 8GB of DDR4 at 3000 MHz. That's two 4GB DIMMs. I was able to tell that it was ADATA by looking at the image on here. I can tell that's ADATA XPG RAM very likely. So that is what we went here. $114 for two 4GB sticks. You could get those cheaper, but I was trying to keep things as close as possible to what they actually had in this system. The SSD, $50 for 120 gig, not a problem with that. Seagate Barracuda 1TB, 7200 RPM drive, that was $51.40. They did mention on there that they were using a 7200 RPM mechanical drive, but they didn't mention the brand on that or the SSD. So I went with what I could find, what I thought was a good deal and what I would use if I was actually building a system. Now, the big chunk of this is really going to come from the graphics card. The GTX 1070 over on Outlet PC, you can get for the rock bottom price of $799.89 American cents. Wow. What a deal. What a tech deal, you might even say. For the chassis, we found the NZXT S340 Black Edition. It's an ATX mid-tower chassis. Not sure exactly what case they're using from iBuy Power, but the S340 is pretty darn close to it, and it's also a very good case as well. $70 with a $20 mail-in rebate brings that down to $50. They didn't mention the exact power supply or the wattage, but someone did answer one of the questions over on Amazon for what the PSU was. So I ended up going with a Corsair CXM 550 watt 80 plus bronze rated power supply for $55. So what is the final cost of our build, trying to get something as close as possible to what iBuy Power is offering for, once again, for $1,239. Final cost is, drumroll please, $1,494.64. That is absolutely insane for a budget PC with a GTX 1070. If you knocked off $400, this build should be around $1,100. And then if the RAM were to come down to a realistic price for what it should be, you're looking at around $1,050. which is what these parts should probably cost in the market. Let's say a year ago, you could have got this build probably for around $1,000 to $1,100, which would have been cheaper than the iBuyPower system. Although for a first-time, PC user that doesn't want to build a system, having like a $140 premium is not really that much of a price hike over buying the components themselves. But now you're looking at about a $250 premium if you go out and buy the parts yourself. So this just really sucks, honestly, at the end of the day, that this is the current state of the PC market that we are living in. I do look forward to our discussion down in the comments below as always. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you are a system builder, if you've been waiting to build a system, especially if you're new to PC gaming and you are trying to build a system right now. I know it's really polarizing and it's just not a good situation to be in looking to build a system, but looking at stuff like this, it almost seems more practical to go out and buy a PC. There was one system that I had seen on here that had an RX 580 in it for like it was like $800 for the system. It was a 4GB RX 580 card, but even the 4GB RX 580s are selling right now on eBay for around $450. So you can go out and buy that system and sell the graphics card and make back like half of what you were going to invest into the system. So that's just one way maybe you can go if you want to go buy a system and then sell out the components. You can possibly turn a profit from it if you wanted to sell it and try to get a card yourself on your own. But looking at the GPU prices like we did, it seems apparent that you wouldn't be able to do that even if you were selling an AMD card to get an NVIDIA card to maybe get it cheaper than the AMD cards, which we had originally only seen the price hike on. Now it's everything. All the graphics card prices are up, the RAM prices are up, and it makes it almost impossible to build an entry to mid-level PC for a reasonable price. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. Like I said, I do look forward to our discussion down in the comments below as always. If you enjoyed this little look into the PC market right now and what it would actually cost to build a system versus buying a pre-built system from somewhere like Best Buy or Amazon, then leave a like on the video down below and subscribe if you're not already. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.